Okay. Okay. Apparently, this did not go like how I planned it. Man. That stinks, dude. Hell yeah, here we go. I guess I'll just go between these two. Shout out to the person that actually called it out. I had some issues. You guys couldn't hear Brad Idzik talk freaking at all. So if that's the case, I'm just going to move on. I cannot believe that Brad Idzik was silent that whole time. That makes me so sad. But we back. This time it's Brad Idzik speaking to the media. Not even going to finish that other one. I'm so mad about that. But regardless, let's get this thing. This is Brad Idzik speaking to the press yesterday, actually. So
I just want to start by saying, commend the coaching staff that we have here going into week one, just to prep all off season, prep all training camp, continuing to refine our process. I would always tell other coaches year two is a lot more smooth because you get to work out the kinks, through a full season, but then also another off season together, and just really commend all of our coaches of just fine tuning our process of making sure we're putting guys in position to take advantage of matchups and win and play fast. So, and then also the players, their focused effort every day in and day out. It's been phenomenal. So just really looking forward to continuing to build on that.
Great, thank you, Coach. If you guys want to start to raise your hands, we can open it up to questions. We'll start with Mike, followed by Alex.
Hey, Brad, I got two for you. One, where are you guys at with JT Sanders following kind of his weight loss, but also kind of his uptick in production and what you saw last year?
Yeah, JT looks explosive, man. He's done had a really good offseason. I know that's been highlighted by me and some of the other guys, but
shout out Arno. Hopefully I'm saying your name right, dude. I appreciate you. Shout out.
he's a mismatch, right? Yeah, they have to account for him in the pass game, and then he's also, I really challenge those guys to be physical and aggressive. No matter what your weight says, be physical, aggressive, play with your hands, and those guys have really they've done that. Our defense up front, we got two young guys coming off the edge, full tilt, trying to rust the passer. So whether we're in pass pro or we're sifting back on blocks, they've been great challenges for guys like JT to make sure that they keep that physicality as well.
And then,
To be honest with you, though, boom. Okay, shout out to Thing. Hey, shout out Arno. Regardless, I appreciate you. Yeah, I'm Brad right here. Oh, it's over here. Brad, you've got an opportunity here. You're talking about Jatavian Sanders as a receiver, and I appreciate that, I guess. You lost 20 pounds. You go down from probably the 250, 260 you were at to probably 230, 240. Maybe yeah, that's 10, 20 pounds because he said he lost 20. So if that's the case, he's a more dynamic receiver. But this offense is going to require 12 personnel. It's going to require 12 personnel because we're going to have to run the ball. And not just that, we're dealing now with offensive line injuries. We were just talking about this on the previous stream before I had to shut it down. Shout out to Arno for calling out my audio issue. But now we're seeing that. We're seeing guys, Ickham's listed as doubtful. Lewis and Hunt are both listed as possible. If we're rolling 2, 3 backups, that's going to be tough. So we're going to need a guy like Mitchell Evans. I'm going to need a Tommy Tremble out there blocking if that means I'm putting Jatavian Sanders as a receiver. Also, if he's receiver, what is he, receiver 4? Or are we putting him ahead of a guy like Hunter Renfrow, who's supposed to be the slot guy, which no longer has Jalen Coker for at least, 4 to 6 weeks. That was the place that ate last year. Now it's not going to have the opportunity to eat. I'm worried about that. This whole Jatavian Sanders thing, man, I don't really care what anybody says. I'm out on Jatavian Sanders. I'm fully in on Mitchell Evans. I'm in on James Mitchell. I'm in on Tommy Tremble, maybe having an opportunity to rebound. But I will continually die on the hill that Jatavian Sanders is Kyle Pitts. That's where I'm at. That's where I'm at with that.
And my second question is, when you look at your strengths of wide receiver and you look at Adam not being here, obviously Hunter's here to play the slot. When you think about your 11 and 12 personnel groupings, does that change anything for you guys because you have Tommy back and Adam's no longer here?
I mean, we really pride ourselves on conceptual teaching, conceptual learning, so guys are ready to plug and play. And then you get into a game plan process. It's funny. I was talking to Hunter about it as he started to jump in with us, and he was like, hey, like, I'm just so used to, like, they're putting me on very specific routes, for every single concept. And here I've kind of like been all over and guys are kind of doing all different spots. And I was like, that's very intentional in the off season. That's very intentional in training camp because we want the guys to be able to plug and play because we know, the roster on a week-to-week basis changes. So we really pride ourselves of prepping the guys that way. And then when we get into a game plan week like this, we try to maximize those matchups and make sure we're getting what we want by putting specific formations in, specific motions to get leverages on pass plays, and across the board, making sure that those guys feel, okay, you've earned this through the training camp, in the spring, and all of the things that you've showed that we want to highlight you this week on this route against this player.
First, I'm going to get to Arno's comment. I don't think we necessarily are going to have to do one or the other unless T-Mac is a bust. Defenses that aren't among the best are going to be in a bad spot trying to cover all of our responsibilities. I agree to a point. We unfortunately just missed on the previous stream where you couldn't hear anything. Of course, I'm sitting there talking to myself essentially, but he literally was talking about T-Mac. He was talking about young guys asking for the why. Asking for the, hey, man, I'm getting through my route. I'm getting through my progression. I'm getting through all that. And then obviously you get to the moment and they're not able to capitalize. I, again, pulled that back to the game where we had the drop in the end zone where T-Mac he was a half a second behind. And he even said it. He took responsibility in the moment. He was like, man, I'm the one that dropped that. That was me. That I feel like is this now. T-Mac is going to have a massive responsibility on this team, but he is not the only one. Xavier is a wide receiver one, or at least that's what he was drafted for. A guy like Hunter Renfrow can have his moments. Absolutely. But I think there's something to this little bit of hesitancy that Idzik is having towards this offense. And I think that why, again, goes back to the offensive line issues that they've known about for months, that the fan base is finally catching up to, because that original Hunt injury in July is now rearing its ugly head. Yes, he's going to play Sunday. I'm very happy about that, but I'm just hoping there's nothing long-term wrong with a guy like Hunt, a guy like Lewis, a guy like Icky, or for that matter, anybody on this team. So let's just get that out of the way as well. Oh, it didn't play. Oh, he's just waiting.
I think you're muted.
Oh, there we go.
Classic Zoom.
I very much am muted, and I said a corny joke, so I'm not going
You know what? I was doing the same thing. I was literally talking to myself earlier. Shout out, Arno.
to repeat it. Brad, obviously you like your three running backs back there. You think they can all make plays. They all had a lot of reps this training camp. How long do you think it'll take for you guys to figure out like a consistent carry distribution in the backfield? Do you guys already have a pretty like stable plan from week one, and you think that's going to carry through the rest of the season, or is that still up in the air?
Oh! I'm going to answer this first. We're going to run Chuba. Oh wait, the report says that we're not going to run him into the ground, so we're just going to run him. I give Chuba the ball 60% of the time, you give the rest to Rico. Rico's the more threatening receiving threat. I don't know why I said threatening twice, but he's the bigger receiving threat. Chuba's the more powerful runner, I guess. Either way, you're not going to kind of cycle in Rico on third down. I think you leave that to Chuba. I do think they've got a system, and I think that system at times is going to be Chuba and Rico out there. So we're running two. And Rico, Arno with a controversial take. Rico, third down back. Interesting choice. I thought it would be Chuba, but now I really, really want to know.
I think well, first and foremost, body of work by Chuba. He's a big piece of who we were last year and who we are going forward. We know the style of runner he is on game day. We know the other two as well. They've proven themselves throughout this spring. We've seen Rico's tape. We've seen him back that up, in person. Same thing with Trevor. Everybody saw it in the preseason, the way he runs and finishes runs. So I don't think we put a number on it, but you're just you feel blessed to have three guys that run the ball the right way. And then you kind of see as the game goes, and you try to make sure that they're all playing fresh. So the benefit from having all three is, we don't need to run Chuba dry early. We have two good runners with him. So it's a long season. We just like the receiver room question. Like, we know we're going to have all those guys available on a weekly basis. So keeping them fresh and keeping them running full speed, we don't lose a tick when one goes in versus the other. So we're not going to put a number on it right now, but we are going to make sure that all those guys are prepped for all the different carries that we're going to ask them to have.
Okay. If you drafted your team already, I think that means a death knell for Chuba Hubbard. I mean, he's going to split. We're going to give them that. Did Carolina become running back by committee? Obviously, I'm only speaking in fantasy. I really don't care about it in any other facet. Multiple running backs is a good thing for a team. I'm totally down with that. But man, fantasy-wise, Chuba just cratered, possibly, man. Cratered. I mean, I guess we assume that since Rico got signed. We assume that since Trevor's there, even though Trevor's going to be mostly special teams. I mean, he's the kickoff and punt returner. So I would expect it's really going to be between Chuba and Rico. But I don't know, man. Arno, you might be right. Legit. This comment might be right. Can't believe we're here, man.
Perfect. Thanks.
Yep.
All right, we'll go to David, followed by Joe, and then Cassidy.
Hey, Brad, good to see you.
Good morning.
Talk about T-Mac. I mean, you see a lot of rookie receivers come into the league, and they struggle their first year. Xavier had kind of up and down rookie year. What about T-Mac makes you feel like he can go right into that number one receiving mode?
For T-Mac, it's just about being the best version of himself every day, and that's what he's really poured into. He's a pro in his approach and his communication. That's been one of the best parts is just watching him immediately. You go from offense to defense in the scope of a practice, and the second the defense is on the field, he's ironing things out with Bryce. Hey, how did that feel? Like whether it was a completion or, they're working on timing or a decision and they're getting another route on the side. But his communication with Bryce and myself and Rob Moore has been nothing but professional. So that inspires belief in all of us of saying, okay, this guy's going to accelerate really fast in his learning curve because he wants it. He's hungry. And then the skill set takes care of itself. We all saw that in the draft prep. We all saw it in the spring in the training camp. That's why we brought him in the building, because we believe in the person, and that professional is showing up. And then the skill set we do believe is a matchup for any team we're going against.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. Dude is massive. Regardless of if you don't love his separation, dude can get separation. We saw that in college. Obviously, the NFL is a different game, different guys that are covering you, different level, just to be honest with you. But I do believe in T-Mac. I don't know if he's a 1,400 yard rookie receiver, especially given where this offense could be. Again, the offensive line, I'm not going to touch on it a whole lot, but I'll keep mentioning it just in tiny little doses. If the offensive line can't stay healthy, it's going to be hard for a guy like T-Mac to get down the field. I would expect a guy like Chuba, I would expect a guy like Rico to really eat up in those situations, because those safety valve passes, the screen passes and everything are things that Dave Canales loves to go to, regardless of how much the fan base tells him that they hate it. At times, he just needs to get the ball out of his hands, meaning Bryce. And sometimes that's when T-Mac's trying to get down the field. So I can't expect him to solve everything, but I do expect him to solve a lot of red zone issues. I mean, he's a massive target out there, massive. So big, huge W getting him. He was absolutely a draft pick that I absolutely loved. Top tier for sure.
He was looking at a video of him passing the ball yesterday in the locker room. Has he brought that up to you that he's a pretty accurate passer?
Oh yeah, absolutely. He's they always point you to a couple college clips, and he's shown me a couple. There was one one where I think he rolled around. Cassidy was actually showing it to me. He rolled around, he threw it back to his quarterback, and the quarterback, ended up dropping it. But just knowing it, you give him the ball, he's going to, extend plays just like Bryce does too. So, maybe there's a little symmetry there if you do end up giving him the rock to throw it.
By the way, I do have to, regardless of how critical I am of Bryce Young, I do have to give him massive credit for how elusive he can be at times. There's times where he for sure runs into a sack, but there's also times where dude comes out of it like, how in the world did you do that? Obviously, he's the Carolina Reaper, but man, he could have been the Magic Man. There could have been some really cool ones. The way that he's pulled out of some sacks, I'm very surprised. So shout out to him on that. I got to give Bryce some credit here.
And this is a little off target, but the Eagles really successful with the tush push. Why don't the Panthers, if it's that effective of a weapon, why don't the Panthers use it?
Well, one more time. So.
Because we have a 180-pound, 190-pound quarterback. That's why, who doesn't squat 600 pounds. We also didn't invest in the offensive line at the center position, which is really what made the tush push what it is. You have to have a good center. We don't have that. We have Austin Corbett and Cade Mays at center. Good, not great, not enough to pull off a tush push, especially crushing Bryce behind them. Like, no, I don't. Stupid question. Absolutely stupid question.
Sorry?
The tush push, why don't the Panthers use it if what the Eagles do is so successful? Or is they just a combination of what they have a quarterback in line or what?
Yeah, I think there's a balance of like protecting them and making sure that, we're running our core schemes that the guys, you get so many plays in a game that you want to make sure that you get the things that guys have gotten so many reps of, during the week. And that's our first and foremost thing. And then all the offshoot, all of the complementary schemes that we kind of put on the side, we make sure that, the guys are really comfortable with it and before we, get it off the card. But the first week of the season, early in the season, we want to make sure that all of our core stuff, is getting run so guys are coming off the ball with confidence.
Yeah, legit. Stupid question. I mean, it's rage bait, but don't get me wrong. I saw a tweet earlier that David Newton might just be the perfect Carolina rage baiter. And if so, man, that's next level. Because if so, he's pulled the wool over the eyes of fans forever.
Suggested you had to run it. I was just saying, why did the Eagles run it and hardly anybody else does?
I'm sorry, I couldn't.
I was saying, why did the Eagles run the tush push and nobody else seems to do that?
Oh, the tush push. I'm sorry, I'm completely off base of what I was answering. But yeah, the tush push. One, their quarterbacks, pretty good size there. We could definitely do it. There's an element of protecting your passer and making sure that if your guy, if there's a short edge and he gets hit in the back, any of those things that just don't seem worth it at times. And Bryce is so good too, when he's out on the edge, that's almost as valuable as just having an easy like push up front with wedge blocking. So we found other ways to combat it with a little bit of like belly handoffs with 21 pony and things of that nature. But putting the ball in Bryce's hands with a little bit of space too. For us, you go and you watch Washington, right, and teams like that nature where it's equally as valuable to threaten the defense laterally as it is vertically right down the middle.
Thank you.
Yeah, sorry, I eventually got to your question.
Yep.
What a dumb question. Yes, he's thicker. Jalen Hurts. Bryce Young weighs less. Health concerns. He didn't. Regardless, go find the stat. I'm pretty sure the stat from college for Alabama for Bryce Young was that he took 95 to 98% of his snaps from pistol or shotgun. So he's not even an under center guy. I hate that we keep trying to make all these quarterbacks under center when that's not what made them successful. 5 wide is what made Bryce Young successful. We're not running 5 wide. We're running not that. So I don't really see the parlay between the two. And again, very dumb to compare Bryce Young to Jalen Hurts. Just size-wise. Let's just take the football aspect out of it. Size-wise, not even the same person. Not even close.
No problem.
Hey, Brad. Good morning.
Morning.
Back on T-Mac. It seemed pretty intentional that early in camp you guys threw a ton of press coverage at him, be it mostly from Mike Jack, but really from everybody. How do you think he responded, one? And two, are you expecting to see a lot of that early on? Because that was kind of the knock on him, his ability to defeat that, or at least questions about whether he could.
I think whether it was scheme or it was, veteran corners on our team, wanting to get their hands on a top 10 pick, I think everybody kind of licks their chops of, hey, let me welcome you to the league with these hands. And T-Mac, we said it earlier in camp, he did a great job responding and playing physical. That is Rob's wheelhouse. That is Rob Moore's wheelhouse. Him and Keyshawn Coleman are working day in and day out at putting every type of physicality you can into these receivers, into the way they play. I would expect, in the NFL, whether the scheme or not fits, that's always you want to make sure that, you're saying, okay, when do you expect these guys to come and press? When you have a zone dropping team, at times you're going to have some free access. So just making sure that T-Mac's prepared for those circumstances of when the press will show up. This isn't necessarily a team that presses down in and down out, but shoot, if they want to do it, we've gotten great work all camp. We feel really confident in it. We went over to Houston. I think that was another great instance where we had, a lot of press coverage with aggressive, really good DBs, and they got great work there. So working kind of a complementary, hey, if they're in zone, right? If they're in a vision zone, we got to be on our P's and Q's about timing and route placement. But if they want to come and press, we've gotten plenty of work at it, and we're ready to go. I think that's kind of I wouldn't say the easy part, but it's just diagnosing how are they trying to attack us today? What's our mindset and how we're running our routes?
That's been a criticism of a lot of people. Tetaroa in press coverage. Is that why he's making sure to hit this? Because we always got to ask ourselves, what does the franchise want us to hear? What does the franchise want to tell us? Who has to benefit from this? Of course, it's always going to be the owner. But a wide receiver like Tetaroa, again, came into the league with concerns on press coverage. So I do believe this is in reference to that. Of course, he's talking about working with wide receiver coach Rob Moore, who I agree is absolutely helping Tetaroa develop into that next level wide receiver. And I'm very, very, very excited to see it on the field. I mean, dude was crazy good at Arizona. If you didn't watch the tape, you need to. He absolutely dominated. And yes, there was times where he struggled with press coverage. At the same time, who's going to be open if they're pressing Tetaroa? Probably a guy like Hunter Renfrow or Xavier Legette. Regardless, I really like what he's talking about here. I just, I got to say that it's probably coming from PR department for sure. And speaking of Arno, he's all about forcing quarterbacks under center, man. I don't know if I agree with you there. I know that that's what Reich tried to do. That's eventually what got him fired, was trying to force Bryce under center more often. I really like Bryce's opportunity when we're out 5 wide. I do think that's where he exceeds. But at the same time, he's got to be under center at times. So I agree forcing them under center, just not all the time. I want him to play to his strengths first because, to be honest, I need to see those strengths this year, especially with the new weapons, with everything like that.
Thank you.
Yep.
Hey, Brad, how's it going?
Good. Cassidy?
Yes.
Sweet.
Thank you. I'm going to take that as a compliment. That you knew who it was. When you look at, let me back up. Do you expect defenses to maybe play Bryce a little differently this year now that there is just kind of, more of a body of work of what he can do in this offense? And if so, how do you balance that as a coordinator with what he does well versus what you're expecting?
Yeah, I think as far as Bryce is concerned, all teams coming into week 1, they're dealing with newness, right? So the Jags are dealing with newness on their end, but they're also dealing with newness in us of how we progress throughout the season. And they also don't know all the things that we've added in the offseason. So there's new personnel around Bryce, which is going to change some of the tendencies that he had last year. He's throwing to different people. We have a couple different runners, a couple different running styles. We've added different schemes to protect, what we want to accomplish on a weekly basis. So yes, I do think they have, a body of work there where they think, they can kind of get a beat on just what he likes to do. But we've also spent all offseason making sure that we're protecting those things. And then one more time at the second piece.
Oh, yeah, just like as a coordinator, how do you balance that? Knowing what he does well versus knowing that they might try to take some of that away?
Yeah, one we've developed the complementary schemes in the offseason for him. So year one's about getting your core in, making the guys comfortable with your identity and what you're trying to, how you're trying to attack certain coverages, certain fronts, certain pressures. He did a great job at that. That was the freedom that he played with towards the latter half of the season. He had great comfort in those core schemes, and then we build upon that. Okay, what's a complementary concept to, for verts? Okay, we're going to put this in, to complement that. What are two runs that they can expect to be coupled together? What's a run and a pass to be expected to couple together when teams want to combat some of the things we do? Those expectations were set throughout the offseason. We got good reps of it, and now you take another step as a quarterback, as the guy driving the team, and he knows kind of what's coming down the pipe as far as, hey, this is what we expect teams to do. This is what they did down the latter half of the season, and this is our answer to it. So just continuing to build in those complementary pieces for him as we go, and then as we continue to learn the new personnel around him, and every player, including the guys that were here last year, they come in new. We talked about JT transforming his body. Well, truly, everybody coming in this year has a new piece of their game that we have to make sure that we're listening to, and we're applying our scheme to it. So just adjusting to those things on a weekly basis, making sure we're keeping a pulse of everything is kind of our focus as a coordinator and a coaching staff as a whole.
Interesting choice of words there. Obviously, yes, you're self-scouting. You're trying to figure out what Bryce does well, what he doesn't do well. At the same time, do you really think that you're going to be able to mitigate that with missing 3 offensive line? I don't think so. Now, obviously, I don't think we're actually going to be missing all 3. I think it's just going to be Ickham. He was announced as doubtful for the Sunday game against Jacksonville. So with that, most likely it's going to be Josh Yimon or Brady Christensen going out there. So that's going to be an interesting choice on that. We're going to find out after this when we do that Dave Canales breakdown that just happened a little bit ago. That should give us some insight. But to be honest, I don't know if there are ways for us to scheme around some of Bryce's more concerning options. Oh, geez, Arno. Man, I've been doubtful on Icky since we got him. Yeah, a lot of people have, if I'm going to be honest with you. And now we really have to start thinking about that 5th-year option. But realistically, unless we're going to go out there and double dip on high-end tackles, I mean, we know Moton's not going to be here forever. We need to start thinking long-term. Regardless of when anybody wants to talk about, Hunt and Lewis are already starting to get up there. And again, both banged up depth-wise as well. Josh Yimon not really there where we want him. Brady Christensen and Austin Corbett are pretty much ready to retire at this point. I mean, and get into their 30s. So this offensive line is going to have some concerns over the next few years. Whether or not a guy like Brad Idzik is going to be able to overcome that is going to be indicative of these first few games. There's a lot of moving pieces with this team right now. Like it was said before by Arno as well, flexibility is what any roster needs, but especially this one. I 100% agree. We're going to have to figure out how to win games close, how to win games by running the ball and controlling the clock. And I honestly, at times, by not throwing the ball, by not putting our team in harm's way, and by just not gashing ourselves. So I feel like that's a whole other concern. That's a thing that Canales has continually talked about as well. He's talked about penalties. He's talked about turning, 2nd and 3 into 2nd and 18 and stuff like that. So those are the ones that are really going to hurt us. Whether or not people are going to scheme against Bryce, of course they are. That's how the NFL works. I'm more concerned about the other things, the coachable things, and the cuts, whatever you want to call it, the, damage to yourself. That's where I feel like this team is going to struggle this year. But again, it's only 2nd year of these guys. So I need them to get a whole another year. I need them to get the opportunity to really build this team long-term, because like my prediction said, there's a situation where we walk out of this with no Dave Canales, no Brad Idzik, no Dan Morgan, like Tepper goes full scorched earth and it's over. And I really genuinely hope that's not the case. So I need a guy like Brad Idzik. I need a guy like Dave Canales, Juro Evero to pull it out this year and give me some wins that I could take to the bank, literally.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yep, no problem.
All right, we'll wrap up real quick with Jeff Hawkins, then Julian Council.
All righty.
Good morning, Coach.
Morning,
Hey,
Jeff.
this could be seen as Bryce's quote-unquote prove-it year. I'm curious to get your take on his week one mindset and how important it is for him to get off to a good start.
Yeah, play fast and confident. I think every year is a prove-it year for all these players. I think it might come off as coach speak, but we truly are, like, this is such a highly competitive league that things change so quickly. So just playing confident in himself, playing free, and we really challenge all of our players to do that. We want them to hear these plays and get fired up every time they hear the words they know, so they explode to the line and explode off the line. And we're confident that they're going to do that. They've shown that in camp. They've shown that in practice so far this week. We're really excited to see it all come together.
Thanks a lot, Coach.
Yep, thanks.
Obviously, we're all praying they get there healthy.
Hey, Brad, just kind of looking ahead to Sunday, we won't really know what Travis Hunter's splits will be like until game day. Kind of what's like preparation been like preparing for a guy like that who can play on both sides of the ball? And is just generally your overall thoughts on a guy like him, knowing how you played the position back in college and him being able to play it at a high level on both sides, now attempting that in the NFL?
Yeah, I mean, one, you evaluate the athlete. I got to, watch him in the draft prep as a receiver, and you just see his movement skills and his ball skills. So those alone are special. But then when it comes to, we're talking about like the dealing with press all camp, and then some of their zone coverages, just what they present to you and understanding, okay, each DB, when they come to the line, how are they going to play you in press man? How are they going to play you in zone? What do they show that they're good at? The beauty is T-Mac, guys like that have played against Travis. We have one of his teammates here. They know some of his tendencies. So we're going to overturn every stone to figure out, okay, how do these guys, what do they like to do in press? What do they like to do when they're in zone? When are they jumpy? When can we get them? How can we attack them in the run game? Make sure that they're filling in, in their gaps and tackling. So making sure that every stone is overturned to make sure these new guys that you don't have a lot of tape of, you're attacking them the right way. But at the end of the day, right, we have a scouting report. Rob Moore goes over a great DB's tape on what he thinks, how they're going to play you in certain coverages. At the end of the day, you take all that information, but then you focus on yourself and just exploding off the ball, playing fast. That confidence in the scheme is the first piece, that confidence in understanding when to expect certain types of coverages, and then just reacting. We're coming off the ball, we're reacting to off coverage versus press coverage versus cloud, all right, and playing fast and trusting our rules. So really trying to stress them this week with their rules, because that newness of both scheme and players you're going against is real in week 1, 2, and 3, where you don't have a huge body of work to go from. So you stress these guys' rules and make sure that they're comfortable in them.
Absolutely. Shout out to Brad Idzik for that. Obviously, he is talking about, wide receiver 2 in Travis Hunter, and I'm checking the depth chart now. Cornerback. I mean, he's cornerback 3 at best, possibly 4 for the Jaguars. The rumors that he's on a pitch count. I mean, I'm not worried about Travis Hunter. To be honest, I think a dude like Tatarella, a dude like Emeka Egbuka, and all those are going to absolutely outshine a guy like Travis Hunter, especially in fantasy, but we don't even need to get into that. Also, shout out to this comment. I could definitely see Dave or Brad getting fired, but let's not forget that Dan was an inside hire. Dan will outlast them all. I thought so too. So I thought so as well, and I'm kind of delaying while I wait for the press conference to load real quick. Yeah, I thought so as well. But to be honest, I think not Dave Canales, not Dan Morgan, not any of those would survive. I think the one that would survive would be Brant Tillis. I can see a scenario with Tepper making Brant Tillis not only the VP, but the GM or the president. He wouldn't need to be VP. He would need to take Dave or Dan's job. So president and GM. So yeah, I could see that. Brant Tillis taking it. Coming from KC, already works all of our contracts. he could really fit into that role pretty well. I feel like his talent evaluation is pretty solid as well. Though we haven't seen a ton, I feel like what he doesn't know, he would be willing to outside hire for. So for me, I would be totally down with that. Now let me get this thing up. Boom. Dave Canales just did a press conference a few minutes ago.
Let's just get through our week, the process, and tomorrow again with our review.
Speaking of, let me go back. I just got a comment real quick. I don't know, man. You remember how long Fitterer was here and he was doing an objectively terrible job? So far, Dan's body of work is impressive, to say the least. I will give you pushback. Go look at that 2024 draft class. Xavier did fine. That's fine. Jonathan Brooks is out again. Jatavian Sanders is, in my opinion, Kyle Pitts. Shaw Smith-Wade is fine. Trevin Wallace is not the linebacker we thought he was. Jaden Crumedy is back on the practice squad, and we cut Michael Barrett. So I don't really love where it sits now. Now, if Jatavian Sanders and Jonathan Brooks become something relevant, possibly. I'm down with you there, Arno. But if those two don't become anything in the NFL of merit, nah, we're throwing that whole draft class away. We're going to pretend like Dan Morgan just started in 2025.
Really good to just get through our week, the process, and tomorrow again with our review and all that. But just three great days on the field, great practice and preparation by this group. And excited really to just get out there and play a game, which they all are. I can tell they're just kind of chomping at the bit to get back to football here. So, but again, it's about our process. It's about just taking these days, each one of them. Every rep counts. Every rep is so important. We create us on that practice field. And the guys heard that message loud and clear and, gave great effort this week.
I guess you didn't see enough from Icky to feel confident that he'll be playing.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to have to just keep taking it day by day, right, really, and we got him out there to do some stuff, and, just just how short of a window we had, we really just, like, every day he takes leaps. Every day he does a little bit more, and it's just like we got to just kind of go all the way. He's doubtful right now. We just got to take it all the way to the game.
I said that. I called that shit out a week ago. I hate it. I hate to say that I was right on that one because, again, I want these guys to come out there healthy. I want these guys to come out there and be able to put a solid product out on the field on a consistent basis. But, man, this internal injury is no joke. As somebody who's currently dealing with my beautiful wife, she deals with an internal injury with one of her organs that she deals with every day. It's not a pain that goes away. Obviously, an appendectomy should heal relatively quickly, but the timetable was not there for him to return so quickly. I said he might not even play week 2, depending on how bad it was. But obviously, I'm really pulling for him to be there week 2. If he's not there week 2, there was some complications. But regardless, I am sad to hear Icky is 100% confirmed as doubtful for the game. So.
Is he saying he feels stiff? I mean, does he feel physically 100%? Or is it just, yeah.
We'll take it all the way to the game.
Have you decided who would fill in for him if he's not able to go?
Well, Yash and Brady have been taking the reps, so we're going to go with one of those two guys.
Dave, Mathis injured himself Wednesday. Is that something that could be a long-term major injury, or are you kind of just week to week with him?
Am I good to just so unfortunately, Damari tore his ACL in the practice, and so he's here right now and is getting some preliminary rehab, and he'll be traveling to get operated on, and we'll be a part of his recovery process. I was really excited about having him here. A guy that really brings a couple of things: a big, strong corner, with great physical ability, look really good moving around with that size, and also just his ability to play on special teams. So I was really excited to kind of bring him along and see where he fit in our schemes. So my heart goes out with Damari for sure. Especially this quickly, kind of changing scenery, coming over from Denver, and then to get here and have that injury, just really unfortunate for him.
Yeah, dude, that genuinely sucks, especially to a secondary that could absolutely use the help. Damari Mathis guts the secondary. I mean, we're going to have to go out there and find somebody. Shamar Bartholomew, the person that C3 Cole and all those other guys can't stand, myself included. I think that Bartholomew is a very much a developmental corner. Dude's probably end up back on this team, especially the 53. We need to be able to roll out healthy guys. So really, really sucks for him. I obviously hope he repairs safely, repairs with his family, and of course gets the opportunity to come back to the NFL. But right now, losing a guy like Damari Mathis really, really hurts this game, really hurts the development of this defense and might hurt us in tough ways, man. These are tough conversations we're having already. It's not even week 1. This is.
It was Wednesday when it actually happened.
Yes.
What happened on the play?
It was a non-contact, yeah.
Other than that, you guys have been relatively unscathed coming into week 1. They talked about on the broadcast last night from Chris Collinsworth's perspective about how in week 1 you're typically more exhausted than you would be because you didn't have the reps and stuff like that. From a sports science standpoint, how have you gone about working with the new training staff and making sure like everybody is getting kind of their workloads kind of managed in that first?
Yeah, Josh Hinks, Denny Kellington, working together with them, myself, Jeff Brown, with our rep counts, and really just trying to mimic the work that it takes to get a full week of football, throughout camp and those days that oscillate with those players' day off, and trying to accumulate those amount of reps, so that we can handle that load. And we were fortunate to be able to have a full group to do it with, and I think it's just a lot of the body preparation going into practices, and then the recovery and strength stuff that was happening afterwards, and the confidence that I can go up there and say, guys, give everything you have in practice. Don't hold anything back. We'll take care of you. We'll monitor those things. If we have to modify days, we will. And just kind of working individual plans for each player, and just being able to keep that on our radar. But I think the freeing part for me as the head coach is I get to just push them, and I can throw hard practices at them. And as we continued to build throughout camp and seeing some good joint practices, those days, we were able to, get really high volume in the Houston week. Then we were able to come back in the week of Pittsburgh week to really get another full day with just us. But to kind of mimic that type of day with the move the ball periods and, finishing and all that. So I feel great about the conditioning of this group. But again, like was mentioned, when you get to regular season and those guys are all playing full speed, there's another level of speed that these guys go to, which we asked them to try to tap into, but just the nature of it, and the adrenaline gets going and all that. So that's an adjustment, but that's an external factor that our guys are, accustomed to dealing with and kind of, evolving from there.
That face right there is not the face of a guy that is aging gracefully now that he is the head coach of my Carolina Panthers. He's literally going up there, and if you look at his face when he's answering some of these questions, especially about the health, the conditioning, how ready this team is. People are already going after guys like Danny Kellington for the VP of our, rest and recovery or something like that. I'm sorry, I always mess it up. But regardless, the injuries that this team is sustaining is putting a guy like Dave Canales in this situation where he's having to go up there and be like, man, our conditioning's good, everything like that, knowing that we have 3 offensive linemen hurt, knowing that we just lost another depth corner, knowing that some of the guys that even on our offensive side, Tetaroa had a hamstring. Renfro didn't make the team because he had a hamstring in preseason. So yes, the conditioning's there for what they're doing. And also the comment about going 100% is something he's continually said to this team. He tells them to go out there and practice at 100% every time. Don't hold back. He says, if you're tired, tell us and we'll cycle you in and out, but we need you to give 100% effort all the time. Obviously, that's what guys are trying to do. I don't know where I feel about this. Let's see what he says. Arno, he definitely went from smile all the time and purportedly toxic optimism guy to Krusty the Clown without makeup level depression. Look at ass boy. Oh, my God. Oh, you know what? It took Frank Reich 4 weeks to get to that. Dave Canales, look at that. Oh, wrong side. Sorry. Look at that face. Man, it's a tough time to be a Carolina Panthers head coach. Is it Tepper? Is it the roster? Is it Bryce Young? I don't know. But clearly it's something, because it is like the Indiana Jones cradle or whatever, where it sucks the life out of everybody. That's not a happy man right there.
A couple more?
There's been 2 seasons now where with Tommy rehab and JT's gotten so many first team reps in camp. When you go into the season now with JT with those reps and Tommy healthy, what does it do for this offense to have kind of 2 tight end 1 quality guys?
Yeah, these guys are like the heart and soul of what we do, and It was funny. We were sitting watching Thursday Night Football last night with Ashby and Ben, my two older kids. And Ben was kind of asking about the tight end position, and he was like, you don't see those guys get the ball a lot down the field, and I was like, yeah, but if you notice, every time there's a run play, those guys are involved. When there's a pass protection and play action, those guys are involved. And then in every pass game, they're a part of the concept, and those guys are so valuable. They're so versatile in how we use our tight ends. And so I'm happy to have JT, Tommy ready to go, Mitchell Evans, and then James Mitchell, of course, just, showing us what he can offer the team throughout camp. So it's a really exciting group, a bunch of young guys and a talented group, and really, I think Pat McPherson does a great job with those guys, just prepping them for all those things. I think outside of the quarterback position, tight end's probably one of the hardest positions to play.
What did I say? You know what? If you've been here, I'm gonna take my little happy dance here, okay? I told y'all this Jatavian Sanders smoke that he is tight end 1 is BS. I keep telling y'all, what did he just say? He said the tight end position is involved in blocking the run, pass pro. It is not a downfield the position all the time. So when you see Jatavian Sanders going straight down the field, know the ball's going to him. Every other time, it's going to be Mitchell Evans. It's going to be James Mitchell, or it's going to be Tommy Tremble out there contributing in pass pro, contributing in the run game at a high level. Jatavian Sanders is the Kyle Pitts of this offense. I'm telling you guys right now.
The corresponding move for Mathis.
Not right now, no. We have a couple of thoughts and ideas, but not currently.
I was just going to, don't know that we've asked you much, if at all, this week about Trevor Lawrence and what. Yeah. Did you study him much when he was coming out, and just any background or thoughts about what he presents?
Yeah, he's a winner, a fantastic athlete, and I think that I've watched him just continue to grow. He's had a bunch of different systems kind of thrown at him, and even throughout all of that, he's found a way to play consistent football. And I think, on any given play, like you see some special throws, and he had a lot of success with Brian Thomas last year, and they added a couple more pieces. So, this is a guy that I have a lot of respect for, not just the player, but also just the way that he carries himself, the way that he continues to lead through some, pretty difficult times, so that speaks to his character. And, I think that Liam's got to be really excited that he has that guy as a focal point of starting this program.
Plus, he's got a playoff win now, so shout out.
With the lack of injuries, how does that change your mindset towards the practice squad? Call-ups as far as maybe special teams, as opposed to filling out a depth spot that would normally be injured, I guess.
Yeah, I think you think about all those factors with the practice squad, and I spent a good part of this week also just kind of floating around the field to connect with those guys to make sure that they know, like, when you're out there, you may be running Jacksonville Jaguars cards. The coaching staff, we watch all that film. I watch both sides of it, and I'm looking for guys who are trying to show me I belong on the field. And we can go back to last year.
It goes back to who's giving him 100%. What he continually asks for, like the last 7 straight press conferences.
Year with Jalen Coker, who really impressed us, early on in the season when he was out there, making plays, making catches, battling on special teams, finding those guys are out there a lot, and typically there's 3 or 4 receivers. There's probably 1 or 2 tight ends helping out, and they carry the load, and that's on the offensive side. Defensively, it's the same thing. They don't get subbed out very much, so we're looking for the type of guys that can fight through things and still kind of have that attitude and mentality to show us, I can help this team. I can offer something, and they get full speed special teams reps as well. So all those things matter, and over the course of years, whether it was in Seattle or Tampa, and now here, I've seen guys on the practice squad be able to contribute.
Trevor, you've gone with young quarterbacks and guys that have been in the league a while, struggled being number ones. Bryce, you've had. What is the common ingredient you see about all these guys? I mean, Trevor's in that same situation, in different systems. What do you see in those guys that it takes a while to get the best out of them?
Yeah, I think it's how quickly can we adjust. First of all, it's a two-way street. So it's the coaching staff being able to put the player in position to have success. And I take a lot of responsibility on that. We do as a staff to try to put Bryce, to try to put whoever the quarterback is.
I don't, you guys might have not heard it from before, but Brad Idzik said that Canales tries to make whoever is the quarterback feel like they are the number one. That was a direct quote from earlier. I'll have to clip it.
Try to put them in their most, confident and comfortable place scheme-wise. And then there are things within the system that we try to ask them to continue to lead, to orchestrate, to really get that organized, and there's just so many basic things that you have to teach quarterbacks early on, that there is this kind of give and take and challenge that comes with it. And it's always the guys that have the character to just take every game as a learning lesson, to take every practice as an opportunity to grow. And I don't really think that ever stops. But I know that the learning curve is stronger early on for quarterbacks. But, I look around the league and, look at the Commanders and how they adjusted to Jaden Daniels' style of play. I think about C.J. Stroud coming out the first year and what a great job they did of putting him in his comfort zone, with things and, being mindful of what you're asking the quarterback to do, and Trevor's had a couple of different systems now. The way that I would approach it is I would build off on look, you've seen a lot of football. And let's find our version of what works for us, but you have experience in a lot of things. You've seen a lot of defense and kind of lean on their experience to give them confidence. You can handle whatever this defense is going to throw at you, and we'll grow the offense based on what we do well. But really just kind of tapping into that to remind them of who they are, and the good ones, they never forget who they are and they remember.
You heard that, right? The good ones don't forget who they are.
Remember what a great player they were at one point. I will be there again. And it's that self-talk, that confidence that continues to remind them, you can do this. You've done it before. You'll do it again. Just get back to work, and just kind of staying in that rhythm really allows the guys to find success.
You know what? I was going to go on a little rant for you, Arno, but I think that what he just said says it. Is he trying to telegraph to us that Bryce doesn't have the confidence? Because that's been the question from a lot of people, myself included, to be honest with you. 99.9 The Fan, shout out to Tim Donnelly. He talked about it. Is it a Bryce confidence issue? The Fan rookie, Dennis Cox and Chris Lee talked about it. Josh Graham, Adam Gold, all these guys, all the big players have all talked about the confidence issue. I feel like that was the shot at the confidence. He's talking about his man crush Geno. I mean, that's possible, for sure. That's possible. But I'll tell you my thoughts on Bryce. Do I think Bryce can do it this year? Yes. What is it? Show that he has the basis to be a competent quarterback at the next level. And I mean that from this. Again, 3 of 5 offensive linemen that start for the Carolina Panthers are coming into the year with some sort of injury. One's a shoulder, one's an ankle/thigh, and Robert Hunt, and Ickham is the appendix. The appendix one should heal up just fine, but a lot of people already have concerns about Ickham being a top-flight left tackle anyways. So that really doesn't solve that one. I'm more concerned about the Damian Lewis, Robert Hunt. I'm obviously concerned about depth and everything as well. But a guy like Bryce is going to need that offensive line to play out of its mind. Remember, we also have one of the top 10 or top 5 paid offensive lines this year. That's a lot of money invested into a product that is expecting Bryce Young to eclipse 4,000 yards, 3,000 yards. If he's 33, 34, 3,500 yards, he probably starts every game. Offense has got to be better than it was last year. I mean, we're talking like 179 yards on average per game. That is not good enough. That's not. And obviously, I mean passing yards. We ran the ball quite a bit. And I expect that run game to return. But again, he comes from the philosophy that the run game is an extension of the defense. So that means his goal is to take the ball out of Bryce's hands at times. We get a 14-point lead, run, and make sure that we just don't lose it. Now, do I think we're going to get a whole lot of opportunities to be up 14-0? No, I don't. I think we're going to have to fight back a lot. So a guy like Bryce Young is going to have to throw the heck out of that ball. That's where I feel like his opportunity comes. but that comes with confidence. We already have the coach looking like he's losing confidence. Is that because he's seeing the quarterback not have the confidence or whatever it may be? Possibly. I mean, I don't know. We haven't seen the product on the field yet, and I can't be 100% out on Carolina. I'm a Carolina Panthers fan. It pains me to predict 5 wins. It pains me. Oh my God. Somebody just dropped Tyreek Hill in one of my leagues. What happened? What? Legit. I'm going to put it on screen. Somebody just dropped Tyreek Hill. I'm putting in that claim real quick. Sorry, guys. What just happened? I'm going to put it over John Smith. Let's go. Boom. Waiver claim placed. Anyways, let's get back to the question. Can Bryce do it? Yes, he can. I want to proffer something for you, though. Yeah, right? I just showed it. I had to show it. I couldn't lie about what I just saw. It just came on my screen. But when it comes to this team, Jacksonville, we need to win. The reason why we need to win, the reason why Bryce needs to win, the reason why I need to win. Who's playing the Saints week 1? Obviously, division rival. They're playing Arizona, our week 2 opponent. They just said that their young, just paid a fortune edge rusher is not going to be there, Chase Young. They also have offensive line issues. Another offensive lineman, I think, just got ruled out. So the Saints are not going to be able to beat Arizona, which means Arizona's coming to, or no, we're at Arizona. So we will fly to Arizona against a 1-0 Cardinals team. There's a chance we go down 0-2. We go to Atlanta. Atlanta's at home. That's our first home game where we're actually, I think, a 1-point favorite right now, or 1.5 point favorite. I'm down with that. But man, going in there down 0-2, going into Arizona, already losing to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Man, I don't want to get out of this Atlanta game in week 3 down. Yeah, in week 3, down 3 games already. Sorry, my brain is going a mile a minute. The Aints will win because Spencer Rattler has ascended to a level beyond a normal Saiyan. That is a top tier comment right there. Please don't tell me the Saints win more games than us. Please, God. Please, please.
Last question from Alex.
Dave, there's an interesting symmetry with you and Liam Cohen. Obviously, both offensive coordinators at Tampa Bay and then get your first head coaching job. What do you know about? Do you have a personal connection with him? What did you see from him last year as a play caller in Tampa Bay, and just your general thoughts of him going into his first game?
I've had a couple of connections with him over the years. I would say probably for about the past 5 years, going back to when he was at Kentucky and Will Levis was there. He was doing some great things schematically. He kind of had this cool combination of the pro game and the college game, being able to use the rules of the college game to his advantage. And then, I saw him translate, as he went back to the Rams, but then when he took over in Tampa, I saw him really translate the marriage of a couple of systems, the run variety, the creative screens, the creative deceptive passes and different things. And just at the core of it, like really good fundamental football, so I got a lot of respect for Liam. I've really kind of just enjoyed, like sitting last year and just watching, the stuff that he was doing in Tampa, and kind of watching, knowing those players, knowing Baker, knowing those guys and seeing like, the possibilities of what you could do. So it's been really cool. I think, for us as offensive coaches, we all kind of look at each other's offenses and see if there's something that they're doing within a scheme that we might be able to incorporate, So he's one of those guys that I love watching what they do and really just challenging each other. Like, I think that's how we grow this game. I think I take a lot of responsibility, as a young head coach and really a new offensive coordinator going into my 3rd years of calling plays. I take a lot of responsibility in growing this game, making this an exciting football, a brand of football, for fans for a long time. It's our charge to continue to advance it, but to never lose the essence of the toughness and physicality that it takes to play this game. But really just being able to take what the colleges are doing and say, look, these guys have been doing these plays for a long time. How can we incorporate some of those things into what we're doing? So I think Liam's one of those guys as well. How can we advance this game and make it a great product for all of our fans?
Yeah, absolutely. And to be honest, I'm really excited for Liam Cohen. I've really honestly thought about switching it over directly to the Liam Cohen interview that he did with his OC and everything like that, but maybe we'll save that one for a little later. Either way, I like what he's talking about. I like where we're going with this. Speaking of, shout out to how I knew the Chase Young and Trevor Penning are both out against the Cardinals. So Cardinals are probably rolling to that dub. So we're probably going to have to fight, like I said, that 1-0 Arizona Cardinals team. I don't love that. I don't love it at all. But you know what? Let's hear from the guy that nobody wants to hear from. Let's hear from Mr. Evero, the DC of the Carolina Panthers.
Obviously the season is upon us, and we are very excited about the opportunity starting this Sunday against Jacksonville. And we know it's going to be a great challenge and very well-coached team, a head coach that I have a lot of respect for. Obviously getting his first opportunity, a lot of talented players on the offensive side. But we're excited to go out there and show what we can do and be the best versions of ourselves. And it's going to be a great matchup. And the one thing I do want to say is today is my wife, Natalie Grace's birthday. So I just wanted to wish my amazing wife, Natalie, happy birthday. And I love you very, very much.
All right, thank you, Coach. With that, we'll open it up to questions. We'll start with Cassidy, followed by Mike.
Real quick, that dude just dropped Tyreek Hill. He was just upgraded. Oh, you can't see it that well. God damn it. Oops. He was just, oh, of course I can't. My phone. He was just upgraded to active. Why did that dude drop him? Complete side note.
Do y'all have any birthday plans, or does that kind of get pushed to the side when it's week one?
Yeah, push it aside. We'll celebrate in the bye week. But she's heading down with the kids today to Jacksonville, so she'll be down there supporting us.
Awesome.
Well, nice. Get some beach time in.
Yeah.
Obviously, so much attention is going to go to Travis Hunter and what he can do. But what is the excitement, the challenge of having that, but also a guy like Brian Thomas Jr., who they're still kind of discovering what all can be done with him in an offense as well?
Yeah, this is a challenge, certainly, just because, one, we have an idea what they're going to do, but not quite sure where they're going to line everybody up at. And they have so many talented ball carriers and receivers like Etienne and the two you talked about, Strange, their other running backs. So they're a very talented group, and they have a lot of guys that can really create problems in terms of their offensive skill set. So we know we got a big challenge ahead of us.
Yeah, but he's not going to be cornerback one. So Tedero is not going to have to do it. He's not cornerback two, most likely, which means he's not going to get Xavier. So I'm willing to bet Travis Hunter is going to go after Hunter Renfrow. Cover the slot. Hunter Renfrow's not going to get the ball as much. They're going to try and force the ball to Hunter because of the preseason injuries, the hamstring, and all that other stuff. That's my thought process in the Jags defense. Also, it also seems like we're doing exactly what Jacksonville is doing. We have a running back by committee. Obviously, they have an ETN as well. We have our own. They have Tank Bigsby and Bishal Tootin. We've got three as well as an ETN. So we've got some guys. I think we've got a better interior defensive line, but I don't see them trying to run on us. I see them trying to turn this into a shooting match and seeing if we can keep up. BTJ is obviously one of the best wide receivers in the league. Travis is supposed to be something. Let's see what he does on the offensive side, but I'm not really worried about the defensive side of the ball. I also agree with Arno. He's made of hype. I don't see it. I don't see it at the second level. Very few people can come in and excel at one position, let alone two. He's already wide receiver two, so he's not going to go out there and have to beat, PS2 or, I'm trying to remember the dude from the Texans. Stingley. He's not going to go out there and have to beat those guys. Or even in Pittsburgh. I mean, they've actually got three really good corners, but there's a lot of places where he's not going to have to beat the best guy on the field. And if they do put the best guy on him, whoever the hell else is going to be able to eat, especially Brian Thomas. Oh, my God.
Cassie, you good? Okay. Hey, EJ. Good morning.
Good morning, Mike. How you doing?
Well, wanted to ask you two questions. First, you guys have brought in so many new faces to this defense. How do you think this new look front seven can help you guys against the run specifically? And who has been kind of the standout among the group from that standpoint?
Yeah, we're excited about the group we have up front right now. You know, obviously it starts with Derek Brown, Ashawn Robinson, Turk Wharton, um, Bobby Brown. All of those guys have done a really good job. They've had a really good camp. They're ready to go. They're ready to go play, and so that's exciting. Excited about what we're seeing from the edge guys as well. DJ Wanham, Pat, the two young guys, Nick and Princely, DJ Johnson, Thomas Incoom. So all of these guys have really, really just improved. All of their games have really increased. They're all game ready, and so we're excited to see what they can do.
And then you brought up Thomas Incoom. Wanham called him a thunderbolt. And Tracy said that he's got like an unbelievable get off no matter which direction he's going. What has he brought to your defense as maybe like kind of like a fastball in that rotation?
Yeah, he's really he's got traits like a DB. He can really get off the ball. He can really run. He can run all day. He's explosive. He's strong, and so the cool thing about him, just like a lot of our guys, is you've just seen such growth and improvement from what he was last year at this time, and so we're excited to see what he could do this season.
Yeah, and to be honest, I put it on the bottom ticker just this way you guys can stay up to date with it. So Damari Mathis tears the ACL. Got coming down the ticker. Ickham has been listed as doubtful for the game. Might be a game time decision. And of course, still no updates on Robert Hunt and Damian Lewis. Rumor is that Hunt was at least in a uniform. So there is absolutely some concerns on both sides of this ball. I do like the talking up of Incoom, though I did see a great joke where it said he was Incooming to the practice squad. So whoever made that one, shout out to them. But yeah, this team in general is dealing with injuries all over the board. Defensively, not as much, but obviously Damari Mathis out. Like we've lost guys. We lost Josie Jewell to an injury. There's still some concerns, and I don't think he's really dealing with a whole deck of cards at this point. At the same time, this is the NFL. You have to put up defensive numbers. Offensive guys got to put up offensive numbers. It is going to be an interesting time. Like I said, me and Arno have been going back and forth. There could be a scenario where every coach on this team is essentially fired. I hope it's not this year, though. Genuinely, I hope it's not this year.
Thank you.
All right, we will go to David Newton, followed by Mike Solarte and Joe Person.
Hey, Dave, appreciate your time today. You mentioned your young edge rushers. How ready are they right now? And how many reps would you like to get them in their first game?
Well, we're not quite there yet in terms of the rep counts and all that. But the one thing I will say is that, like, the one thing we've been trying to impress on not just the rookies, but everybody in our room is that, you know, when you kind of start this thing off in the spring, you're kind of building your defense, and then you get to training camp and you're going against the offense, and it's the speed of the game is obviously picked up. You get into the preseason games, it gets even faster, and everyone's going because they're competing at a higher level. And then the one thing, as soon as you hit that first regular season game, like the speed of the game increases even another level. And so, like, that's the one thing that we want everybody to be cognizant of, is that, like, we've got to be ready to go because of whatever you've seen and experienced in the NFL. It's going to be a lot faster on Sunday, and so that's what we have to be ready for.
And that's exactly why Dave Canals continually says, Brett Idzik says, now it's Ejiro Evero's turn. You guys got to be practicing at 100%. When I see you guys out there on the practice squad, give me 100% so I know this is what I'm getting when the time comes. Because if you're slower than somebody else, you're second string. Go out there, give us 100%. Because like he said, we're about to literally go from no pads to pads. Obviously, they've been in pads for the last 2 or 3 weeks, or at least a few weeks. Now to full-on games for the next 17-plus weeks. These guys don't have an opportunity to ramp up. They need to be ramped and ready to go. Week 1 this week in Jacksonville.
And how about having on them for a whole training camp and ready to go? How further ahead are you feel like with your pass rush in general, just because of having him there all the time?
That's such a great point, and it's the truth. It's when you have these guys that get all the reps and they've banked all the reps, as opposed to coming in mid-season with very few reps. they're going to be so much better. And so we're excited about not just DJ, but everybody really getting a lot of experience and got a lot of reps, and we're hoping that pays forward.
Impressed with what you said about your wife. That was great.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks.
Hopefully scores me some points.
EJ, I was going to give you credit for scoring a defensive touchdown in week 1 with that, so that was pretty good. As you look back, obviously I'm sure you don't like looking back at the results of the numbers from last year, but as you look back at that and look forward to this year, is there one thing, I know you guys go week to week, but is there one thing you want out of this defense week in and week out that is like the focal point for how you guys want to attack each opponent?
We always want to be physical. We always want to play with great effort. We always want to attack the ball, and we want to play smart. And that's what we're looking for. And we've certainly grown a lot since we started at the beginning of the spring with this group of men, and we'll continue to grow. And what we want to do is just continue to get better each week, and with the anticipation that the way we're playing in week 15 and 16 is going to be a lot better than we play week 1, but also understanding that we need to show great improvement on week 1, and we need to get some things done, and it's important to try to start off on a fast note.
I agree you need to show up week 1 because, again, I think the slide could happen. Like I said, the Aints, the Saints, whatever you want to call them, are not playing Chase Young against Arizona. This Arizona team is most likely going to be returning home to go up against a possible Carolina team that loses big or maybe just can't get the motor going in Jacksonville. This is something we need to hit it running. I don't care. These games get hard real quick. Genuinely. I don't want to go to Atlanta down 0-2. I don't want to go into Arizona down 1. I don't want to go into any of these games down anything. I want to start on an even playing field. And if we're, not getting started till the second half of the season, we're in trouble, dude. Nowhere to go but up. I agree. I mean, we say that, but if we end up with 4 wins this year, I swear, I will riot. 4 wins, 5 wins. I need more than that. I need 6, 7. I don't know about this 10, 9 thing that some people are going on. Shoot, shout out to PPP who put out 13-4. Bro, I want what you're smoking because it's got to be great. I agree with this comment, though. We just got to go up. Just make this not the 32nd worst, or I guess that would technically be the worst, or the 32nd rank, whatever you want to call it, defense. Generate a pass rush. Don't lose the game. Hopefully take the ball away. You know what? That's a W. We saw Lathan do it. Now I just need to see it in week 1.
And you mentioned Derek Brown a minute ago and having him back. It's an 11-man unit, but it just feels like that one man is such a linchpin to what everything else behind him, how everything else behind him unfolds. Do you feel like you got a free agent and getting him back this year after missing him all of last year?
Yeah, I mean, he's certainly one of our best players on our team, and so it's definitely great to have him back. And we know that when he's available, and he is available now, that he's going to be a major factor, and so we're excited about that.
Hell yes, we are. And I'm glad that my premonition was not true. I'm glad that we didn't include DB in any trade talks. The rumor was that we were going to go after Micah Parsons. Obviously, we got a confirmation that Dan Morgan at least made the call. I appreciate Dan Morgan making that call, but this comment tells me everything. And it's something that I stand by as well, man. DB would have made that a better defense just by him existing, just by him being there. I understand on the field and all that other stuff because he technically was there in the locker room. But I mean genuinely on the field being able to contribute. A guy like Derek Brown is a guy that needs to die in a Carolina Panthers uniform. I mean, casket needs to be Carolina blue, the whole bit. Dude needs to never be allowed to talk about another team again because we pay him so much money that he can't think about any other team. That's how I feel about Derek Brown. He's one of, if not my favorite current player that we have. And just his return completely changes this defense. And not just that. That ignores adding Bobby Brown, Turk Wharton, Nick Scorton, Princely Uman Mielen. No offense, Lathan Ransom, who's going to end up covering linebackers at times and coming down and playing in the box. Him on the defense completely shifts us. Just like Cam and CMC should. I agree. Cam and CMC. Hey, we got to have a debate one of these days. Who gave us the Carolina curse? Is it Cam Newton? Is it Frank Reich? No, it was much worse before Frank Reich got here. Who else? Wilkes? Jimmy Clausen? Who cursed us? Who was the curse?
Thanks. Good, Joe.
EJ, good morning.
Good morning, Joe.
Dave yesterday called Merrick an absolute hammer. When we've talked to him, he's very clear about how he's physical and makes no apologies for it. Was that somebody like with his skill set and attitude? Did you feel like you needed that on this defense or in that back end?
It's always great to have guys like him. I've been a big fan of his since he played at TCU, and a good friend of mine was his coach in college, and he's been raving about him for a long time. And Trey plays defensive football the way you want to see it played. He plays hard. He plays physical. He's a very, very, very nice guy off the field, very respectful. And then he gets on the field and he's a Tasmanian devil. And so it's really, really cool to see and feel. And it certainly uplifts his teammates as well. And so, it's been really fun to coach him. He's a pleasure to coach and work with day in and day out. And then obviously when we get on the field in those full contact situations, he's exactly what you want.
I 100% agree with that. Trevon was one of those ones that, we got a bad grade for. When you go look at the rankings of free agency decisions, Trevon Moehrig is going to be pretty high up there, and the thing that people think that we overpaid. And while I'll give you a little bit of that, I think it changes fundamentally how this defense overall plays. One, I think it means that we are shrinking. God, I got to stop playing. I keep dropping a candle, just fidgeting with it, but we are going to shrink the field. We're going to use a guy like Trevon Moehrig, who is normally a box safety, and a guy like Lathan Ransom, who's developing from a box safety into more of a free safety role. We're going to use that to condense the field, throw both safeties rather than being, say, too deep, bringing them a little bit closer. Our interior defensive line is going to be one which really helps us in the anti-run game, obviously stopping the run. On top of that, that will be able to generate a pass rush. Now, really, our only concern are boundary corners. JC doesn't travel in the Evero system, so I don't really love that. We need to kind of figure out that. And of course, with the loss of Damari Mathis on the ticker below, we're kind of dealing with some cornerback depth issues. So I genuinely believe the defense is going to have two safeties. Ransom and Trevon Moehrig are both going to be stellar. They're going to be in the box on the regular, and to be honest, they're going to be rushing the passer on the regular. So expect this team to try and generate that early pass rush to force teams to dump the ball off quickly. So this way we can try and mitigate that void that we have right now at the linebacker position. If we could just get the ball over to the left or right real quick, that's not beating us downfield, which is what we don't want. And at the same time, we don't want to get gashed in the run game. So I feel like the Trevon Moehrig decision makes sense, even though we ended up with arguably an equal free safety in Lathan Ransom in the draft. Speaking of, shout out Arno. He was saying it was conspiratorial. I asked who cursed us. So let's see what he said. Conspiratorial. It's one of our post Super Bowl games when we still had Cam. I cannot for the life of me remember who it was against. The D was yep, I remember that. Okay, I remember this game where they were letting him get teed off on. Okay, they pulled him and he was going to the medical tent and he was wobbling and literally collapsed on the field. He came back in the next possession. Neither Cam nor the organization were the same. We are paying for the debt for destroying Cam, I think. I agree with you. I do think it's Cam Newton. I don't think it's anything else. Obviously, now the owner didn't want to bring Cam to Germany and all this other weird stuff behind the scenes. Again, I am 100% anti-David Tepper to this point. Obviously, maybe he can change my mind down the road. But right now, Tepper, he's the reason why we're in this, man. Absolutely the reason why. Shout out to Arno, by the way.
And then you referenced Liam earlier. What was your relationship like with him in LA? And I mean, I know that was a fairly star-studded staff, but but how or why did he stick out?
Well, he was an assistant at the time working with the quarterbacks. And what he would do is he was in charge of the scout team, the offensive scout team that gave the look for the defense. And so he really impressed me from day one, just his command of the quarterback, the receivers, the offense, and really how he took charge of the entire scout operation. And so it was no surprise to me that his career has taken the path that it's taken, just because I saw his intelligence, his ability to relate, his command, his leadership. And so, yeah, I'm a big fan of his as a person and as a coach.
Thank you.
All right, got time for a few more, so we'll wrap up with Cassidy and then Mike again.
Yeah, I was just curious. Did Princely have to convince you to give a single digit to a rookie pass rusher? Like, what was his argument there? How did he earn that so quickly?
By the way, Arno, absolutely, dude. The Liam Cohen glazing, man, ahead of this tells me that this coaching staff does not feel confident about being able to beat Jacksonville.
That one did not come across my desk.
Then never mind.
EJ, obviously Travis Hunter is a big talking point this week, Heisman Trophy winner that can play both ways. From your experience, and not necessarily specific to Travis Hunter, but when you have a guy that is reading everything, primarily going to be lining up as a wide receiver and maybe have some defensive packages, how difficult is it to prepare for a guy who is a wide receiver, but also kind of knows how to play the quarterback position? And I don't know how his brain works, but I mean, if he can think both positions at the same time, does that make him even tougher to defend? Is he, I know he's a rookie and it's his first game, so he's not full song where he's going to be in his career, but is that kind of a player maybe even more difficult to kind of prepare for?
Well, what I will say is that when you watch him and you watch him play offense, you can tell that he's got a really good understanding of defensive football, and he's got some nuance in how he runs his routes and how he understands leverages and things of that nature. And so I will say that, yeah, you can tell that he understands football at a high level, the way he plays, and he's got very good athletic gifts as well. And so, it's our job to, Dave will worry about him and the offensive staff will worry about him on defense. It's our job to defend him on offense. And so we're just trying to put our minds in I guess the place of where do we think they're going to utilize him, where they're going to put him in, how are they going to feature him, those things. So.
Shout out to the Panthers for putting this out. Shout out to everybody. I'm going to give you guys my final thoughts on not only what we just saw, but genuinely this Jacksonville game. Jacksonville is an interesting opponent. I do think that the Brad Idzik, the Ejiro Evero, the Dave Canales glazing of Liam Cohen does tell me a bit about where their head is at. I think that Dave also gave away quite a bit when it comes to the mental headspace of a guy like Bryce Young. And to be honest, maybe too cute or too cool for school of Ejiro Evero in that press conference does kind of rub me the wrong way. But at the same time, I have to trust this team, right? It's my team. I want to believe. I want to believe that, you know what, we're going to come into this, it's going to be 27-17, and we're going to come out with a dub. T-Mac's going to go off for 150, Chuba's going to do it all and everything like that. But it genuinely concerns me. Going to what Arno said, with Evero going to go, the Fangio disciplines need to go. I disagree. I feel like this defense was built wrong from the jump. I feel like this defense was betting that Josie Jewell was going to play. And the now loss of that linebacker room and having to start Trevin Wallace, having to go out and get Christian Roseboom and stuff like that. I think with this Eagles game last night, for example, to jump to a whole separate thing, Fangio is obviously coaching the defense for the Eagles. That is one that absolutely favors a guy like Jihad Campbell, favors a guy like a Donovan Ezeraku, who could play a little bit of both coverage linebacker, as well as edge rusher. I feel like we're missing that key piece, and that is linebacker. We don't have a number one. Even Roseboom, in my opinion, is not a number one. Especially, I'm not really expecting him to go out there and get 100+ tackles this year. That's just not. Unless they really, like, that is a sore point and they're just going after him and targeting him. That's the only way I see Roseboom doing that. The Fangio disciples are over. No, I think the Fangio defense is still going to continue. The need for a linebacker overall is continuing to improve in the NFL, continuing to be more. Kind of like how we saw the running back room kind of be devalued for years. And now go look at Dallas. Javonte Williams had 2 rushing touchdowns last night. Don't get me wrong. But was it really a rushing offense? Did they really establish it with a guy like Miles Sanders who fumbled the game away? No, but there you obviously now see the value of why that team could have used a guy like Rico Dowdle last night. That Miles Sanders fumble wouldn't have happened. Rico has sure hands, but you know what? He's a Carolina Panther now. He's with us. He's ready to help us get to that next level. So I feel like with all these devalued positions, we're now looking at the Jacksonville game. I am not betting this game. I genuinely was going to. I was ready to take Jacksonville, to be honest, almost a 14-point favorite. I was willing to go 13.5 because I genuinely think that this offense could have some problems. By the way, shout out Kitty for coming on by. Appreciate you. Yeah, the running back is absolutely in the zone D now. I agree. It's how it's being played. It's all of that. But this Jacksonville game, we are worried about one thing and one thing only, and that is getting points on the board. As much as the defense sucked last year, like we've talked about, the adding of a guy like Derek Brown fundamentally changes the defense. I'm not as worried. J.C. Hornzak out there, fully healthy. Lathan Ransom, Trevon Moehrig, shoot, Mike Jackson. Guys are ready to go. And you know what? I'm even going to throw this horrible name out there. Going to make all the Panthers fans' skin crawl. Nick Scott's healthy. Princely Uman Mielen. The lung is apparently completely ready to go with Nick Scorton. This team is ready to go see what is happening out there. I'm not putting my money where my mouth is on this first one. Like I said, we also have the concern of going into week 2. Arizona's most likely going to win since Chase Young and their offensive lineman is also hurt. So, man, I need confidence. I need exuded confidence early. I'm hoping first drive, touchdown, okay? Give me that. First drive, touchdown. Put 7 points on the board. Go out there, off script, second one, and at least give me a field goal. Give me 10 points in the first half. 10 points in the first half means, you know what? This offense is at least giving me something. I don't need 21 points unless all of a sudden, we're getting shelled, in which case go out there and try and replicate that Atlanta Falcons game in Week 18 from last year. But just manage the game. We could get out of this with a 21-20 win. We can get out of this in a way that kind of lets guys heal a little bit more. Ickham's going to be out. Hey, let's try and get these guys healthy. Let's get out of this game as quickly as we can. Burn clock, play ball control, and do this. Hopefully you guys have the confidence of somebody much better than me because, like I said, I don't have it there. I'm just ready, and I'm happy that football is back. I appreciate everybody coming out. You know what? Number one, shout out to Arno for calling me out earlier. Man, I did like 30 straight minutes where nobody could hear Brad Idzik talk. So now that I got that all figured out, make sure you guys check out the live stream. I'm going to be doing this a lot more often, especially because I'm breaking down our opponents as well. Tomorrow, I think I might hop on. I'm not really sure. If so, I'll make sure to update you guys with a graphic. Tomorrow, I'm going to do the Cardinals because obviously we got them in week 2. I'm going to do the offensive coordinator for the Jaguars. And, of course, I'm doing Liam Cohen. That will be out ahead of the Jaguars game. Otherwise, have a great day, guys. It's already 4:30. Go enjoy some food. Hug your loved ones. Enjoy the rest of your day. Hopefully that you have off. Shout out to all those people that might have to work late. But I can't wait to see you guys soon. My name is Nick. This has been Roll Coverage. Please stay safe, guys. I cannot wait. And, yes, of course, we're going to scour the All-22 as the season progresses. I will absolutely have that as well. Can't wait to see you guys. Going to talk soon. Peace.